Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about Power Rangers Lost Galaxy, the Chameliac Warrior. This is one of my all-time favorite Lost Galaxy episodes. I remember when this came on, it was one of those episodes I recorded on VHS, because back when Lost Galaxy was airing, I recorded a couple of the episodes in the later half, second half of the series. And man, I used to watch the crap out of that VHS to where it was worn out. And so, this was one of my all-time favorites. It had so much good action in it. And I got to see clips from some of the Sentai that they never showed on Power Rangers and stuff. And so not only that, but all the Rangers and the Madden and Defender all get to have some really good action scenes. And so it's a basic simple episode. It's really easy to follow. That's the one cool thing about Power Rangers. It's not overly complex. You don't have to watch it 50 million times to understand the plot. You don't have to look for Easter eggs or wait for end credit scenes or nothing like that. And the villain was really cool looking, and I loved his powers. Basically, he mimics the powers of whoever he watches and stuff. So basically, he's unstoppable unless you change up your fighting routine. Now this episode briefly shows Valerie Vernon. This is when she was going through her leukemia. Now we see her in the flesh very briefly, but vocal wise is whoever replaced her. I don't know who replaced her. I wish they would have put it online because I wanted to also know who voiced the original three Rangers and Mighty Morphin, but they never showed that. And so, it's Mike, and he's out jogging and stuff. And so he overhears some stuff. It's a bunch of Stingwingers. It's not a Deviot, Villamax. And they're building something, but he doesn't know what. One of them, overhears him, and so then it's time to morph. And so he's just using his blaster and he's taking out Stingwingers left and right. And I always love the Madden Defender fighting pose when he has his Madden Defender. No, Magna Blaster. He jumps up in the air and he's slanted to the side, and as he's um either going up or descending down, he's blasting in one direction, right, and then he does the same thing on the left side, and he's blasting them, and sometimes he'll run and blast them. It was always a cool thing. One thing that always bugged me with that blaster is they stand completely still and they just blast somebody. But I like how he was always moving around. So Chameliac, he's recording his moves, and then he has a blaster just like Mike. Mike is beyond shocked. He can't believe this. And so the dude takes him out bad. And I love how they gave Mike a morpher, even though it's technically not the Magna Defender morpher. I forget which series it's for. It might be the Gold Ranger from Zeo morpher, or somebody else's, I think. I can't really remember which one, but I know it's not the one from the Sentai, I think, for this series. It's a shame we never got to see him with his helmet off. That would have been cool. I love the Magna Defender suit because he basically just looks like Batman. And it would have explained more as to what exactly the Magna Defender and his son are. I know they're aliens, but are they wearing a suit of armor, or is that their actual skin? That would have been nice to explain. So, he's on the Astro Mega Ship, and Alpha and all of them are attending his wounds. In this episode, Alpha is pretty much useless. We see Kai using the medical scanner to scan Mike's wounds instead of Alpha. So he's explaining to the Rangers, what happened, and he's all shocked and everything like that. And so there's a disc he found, and the disc is singed. So they have to use a program to fix it. The other Rangers go out, And they're looking for the device that's getting created. And of course, the Stingwingers see them, so they have to morph. But before that happens, Chameliac is on Scorpina ship, no, Trakina ship, and he's looking at the footage of like the Rangers fighting like monsters in the past, and I like the CGI on that. It's like the see-through like holographic screen stuff, and here we get some nice more action. We get some from Power Rangers, and we get some from the Sentai. Because I remember when I saw the Pink Ranger, I was like, I don't remember that fight. Like I remember that monster, but I don't remember that fight. So that was like really cool to see and everything. And so he's studying their unique fighting style because see, these Rangers are animal based and they fight like the animals that they're based off of. And I like that. However, in this episode, we get to see more of them fighting like animals because in other episodes, it's not really, they don't show that. It's mostly just your generic fighting and stuff. So that's another reason why I like this episode so much, because we get to see their unique fighting style. So in a way, they morph and they're fighting him and everything until they start to realize something. The dude is mimicking their moves big time. So of course, what happens? They get a butt whooping. And it's a huge hiney whooping at that. And so as he blasts them as hard as he could, this don't make no sense. We see in the Sentai footage, they fall completely down near him. And it's a flat surface that goes out for like many yards. But then in the next scene, we see them going down a hill. It's like, where'd that come from? And of course, they're demorphed. Now this is when we get to see Valerie. She's laying down and Maya's holding her. Now Maya has her old hairstyle. Now I'm pointing that out for a reason. But I get to another episode very soon. And so they're talking about how like the dude has all their moves and he's basically perfect, like no error, just like a computer. But then Leo reminds Kai that computers do make mistakes and stuff, and so he has an idea. So they're going back to like spy on them again, and of course, they get caught, so they have to morph again. I love the double morphing action in this. We get triple, of course, because of Mike. Well, back to the Astral Megaship, Alpha's being useless again. Mike decides he's gonna take his slink off and he's gonna go get the disc and fix the disc because Alpha for some reason ain't fixing it and Deca taking too long. And then he figures out what it is that they're building. It's kind of like a death ray and everything. A super powerful laser, but what's it gonna destroy, you asking? And why did they build it on Terra Venture of all things? So the Rangers morph again. Chameliac's feeling good about himself, but then, all of a sudden, the Rangers are fighting completely different. They're taking on like the other Rangers fighting moves, and it's kind of cool, you know what I'm saying? Because we get to see the Rangers using different fighting styles and stuff, and it's just amazing as Chameliac is like freaking out in the head and stuff. And then so as Kendrick lays the final blow with Leo's move, now this is something else I also like in this. We get a lot of American fighting footage in this, as opposed to the Sentai, which is great. It's always great to see like more American footage and stuff. But some of it doesn't always match up, like with Damon. When he goes to use Kendrick's fighting style, he's clearly smacking the dude on the shoulders like a cat, but you can see Chameliac's face is getting messed up. And so, yeah, that don't make no sense. But then it's cool, because then Leo's all like, I'm about to give you something 100% red. And then he calls on his red capsular cycle. And he's all like, Chameliac this. I love that line. And then the CGI is great on this too. When it transforms and everything, it looks so realistic and lifelike. They spent some good money on CGI for this series. So of course he blasts through them, and of course he goes big. So of course they call them Megazords. And then the final piece of the picture has shown up, and Mike now knows what the laser cannon thing is for, to destroy the Zords. Now, it doesn't look like a laser gun. It looks like a satellite disc. And why didn't they just put it on Trakina's like ship? It would have been easy to blast them. But then they'll have to, it'd probably be harder to bust through like Terra Venture. So that's probably why they put it on the ground. So, okay, now I figured it out. So, of course, he goes there to help them. And he blasts the machine. So, oops, now that's gone. Villainax could not fight in this episode at all. And so they call on the Azores. I think they call on Stratoforce, I think, or Centaurus, one of the two. I think it's Stratoforce. And so he's using the other like Megazords like fighting style, which of course is confusing Chameliac even more. So the Rangers with the lights of Orion, because even Chameliac was able to duplicate the lights of Orion. That's amazing. That's one of the most powerful things ever. Because in the episode before that, it couldn't even stop the motorcycle lady. And so, you know, they destroy him. So then after that, it's Mike and Leo and they're jogging and the Red Lion wants to like thank him and everything. And I love the CGI on the Red Lion. Like at first I didn't like the claymation looking stuff or the puppet looking thing they had. But now I kind of like them, you know, they're kind of cool and stuff. And so this is one of my all-time favorites. Like I said, lots of action, lots and lots of good action. And I just love that a lot. Because you know what Power Rangers is, Power Rangers is good for like a lot of things. But one of the things it's good for is action. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.